Hi y'all, Jeff back here with Jeff's Cars, and this is just going to be another video, but I'm going to cover a couple things, and then I'm kind of going to go on to kind of a topic that I've been hearing a lot of chatter out on YouTube with some of the other well-known YouTubers. Uh, that go out to the auctions and things like that. So before I get to that, I've got the seat that the last video went through and cleaned and conditioned it, and it is in remarkably great shape. There's some controversy on it, whether it's leather or MB text. Well, in the SEL version, I believe, according to all my research, that in the SEL, leather was standard. So, and quite honestly, if you look at the material on here, MB Tex would have probably had a seam here that, this was straight vinyl. This had perforated holes. Now, this appears to have some perforated holes, but I don't know if it's the actual hole or not, or the breathable holes like the vinyl would have. But regardless, I do know this is leather, and it smells like leather. Even after sitting, being conditioned, it has the texture of leather. It feels like leather. It smells like leather. Now, I'm going to take the camera off the tripod here and kind of show y'all the carpets on the front or from the passenger side. I did get the rear seat, the rear one, cleaned up, and it's cleaned it cleaned up very nicely. Although, there is some wear, like right here, over on the edges and things like that. At this point, the carpet kits for these cars are quite expensive. Now, what I'm probably going to do is just replace the snap-on pieces, the snap-in pieces, just because they get the most wear. The center console or the center hump, and all the other ones where you have to take the console out and everything. I probably am not going to replace them because they don't get quite the wear. But for now, I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, I haven't cleaned the front one. I've gone over it with a vacuum, but you can see there's some staining right here, and the wear right here in this corner. I'm going to work at it and see if I can't get it to clean up to make it at least respectable. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about with that heat vent that we talked about in the other video, you can see the padding on the bottom of the carpet, the foam, has the indentation for the heat, for the heat duct to go. But this is nicely padded on the front. The rear seat one, it's pretty dirty. Now, I'm debating on whether taking that off, because I actually have some foam pad that is very, very similar to this, a little bit thicker. Thought about, kind of repurposing it. It's actually some, what was used in the RV industry. Thinking of using that and defoaming this one, to get the stains and the stuff off of it. And it's going to help the smell too, because obviously this has been in the car a long time. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that or not. Lastly on this, Jose hasn't been here. He wasn't able to come last weekend, so therefore, haven't gotten the fuel pump issue resolved yet. But that hopefully he'll be able to join us on this weekend, whether it be Saturday or Sunday. But I kind of wanted to go over a couple things that I did a little research, and you know, in our current economic times, there's a lot of stuff going on, and one of which is the auctions, the dealer auctions. Now, I don't go to them. I don't go to IAA. I don't go to Copart. I used to go. I used to do Copart years and years ago, but they've gotten their fees have gone up so much that for me sometimes it's not worth it. It's better to find something on Marketplace and try and revive it from there. But going back in time on this car, in my research, this car had a new price of $10,250 when it was brand new. Now there were probably fees and import taxes and fees and destination fees and things like that, but that's what this one, the MSRP, from the research I have found on it. This car, at the time when this one was built, had a top speed of 127 miles an hour. 1972, that's not all bad. But taking that $10,250 in today's money, this car would be right around $74,600, roughly. I mean, give or take a few, a few dollars. That's nowhere close for an S-Class today. Back in the 70s, where Mercedes, this is what propelled Mercedes-Benz, into the worldwide market. I mean, they had some cars in the United States and things like that, but they weren't just really recognized. But you got into the 70s and the folks that had would end up spending a little bit more, and they wanted something different. And so this would have been one of the cars. And then, of course, as we know, the SL, the R107, which, I've got one from 1972 as well. But now let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go to 1989 and go to my 560 SEL. Now, in the W126, obviously. The top speed of that car now is 150 miles an hour. It has the 5.6 liter engine, so it's bigger than this one, but it's still the same design of an engine. And new in 1989 was $72,280, and that was roughly based on the few options that it had. But the 560, like the 280 SEL back in 1972, were pretty much optioned up. This had optional sunroof, optional gear selector on the floor, because most of these here, the 280 SELs and the SEs, had column shifts, and so this was when the floor shifter was introduced. But going back to 1989, $72,280. In today's money, that's $183,000. Basically $184,000, $183,900. Now that's probably about the price of an S-Class today. So Mercedes has kind of, since they've got each car manufacturer has so much market share of their cars, they price themselves where they believe that they should be, and does it make them does one car make them more money than the other? It could very well be. Does the S-Class of 2024 for somewhere in the $160,000 to $210,000 range? Is it a car that is making them a lot of money? More than likely, because they probably are losing money on some of the others, like the CLA, the CLB, the CLCs in the SUVs, because apparently that's what America is demanding. The S class is the SUVs or the crossovers. Quite frankly, there's not a lot of car manufacturers that have luxury cars available anymore. They're all a crossover and SUV. So Mercedes is one. Obviously, the Toyota Camry is still around. The Honda Accord is still around, and those are the Japanese versions of the luxury car. And then you've got Lexus that still has, but they're predominantly now going to the more of the SUV. That's what the manufacturers are saying that the buyer is requesting. Is that true? That's up to you all. I mean, to me, I like a good old sedan. That shows, especially something in caliber. That shows the sign of, you might have it might be a little bit more of prestigious to having a sedan versus an SUV. But we have the Lincoln Navigator and the Cadillac Escalade that are high-end luxury vehicles at $100,000 brand new. But is it the quality? Is it the workmanship? Is it the statue of a car or the status symbol of an S-Class Mercedes? I don't know. But let's fast forward even more. Now, some of you may know, if you followed me on YouTube from the Idiot Car Guys, I had owned an S500 from 1994. I call it a 95, but it was actually a 94. I didn't know what I had, in a way. I mean, I didn't pay attention to the title. 94, 95, they were actually the same. It was 96 that they moved it moved it from, or it was 93 to 94 that they moved it from 500 SEL to S500. So let's fast forward to that car. In 1994, we're talking, 5 years later, from my 1989 560 SEL to the S500, the new base price for the sedan, moderately equipped, was $97,875. Pretty much everything was standard on it, with the exception of the 6-pack CD player may have been an option. The rear heated seats and the rear reclining seats were standard on the S500. The massaging front seat or the vibrating front seat may have been the only option. And then paint colors were an option. But the one that I had, when I went back and looked at it, was $102,000 was the MSRP. Now, there was probably some import tax and things like that on there. So, as you can see, Mercedes has kind of kept up with it, as far as they know where their value is as far as the dollar. So, with that said, I like the S-Class sedan. Now, Mercedes hasn't always been perfect, and quite frankly, there's a lot of discussions out there you Google it, you YouTube it. I've got my GL350, the Blue Tech diesel. It's interesting, it's been a problem child. Well, another problem reared itself or came back to light. Went to get in it to go somewhere this evening, just for a little bit, and it wouldn't start. In fact, you get in there and click and everything goes dead. Well, that to me, tells me I've got a battery this week. Well, it is a 2015. This is 2024, and I'm thinking, it probably needs a new battery. Well, guess where the battery's at on those? It's underneath the front seat. And of course, I've had access to it once before when it broke down. I kind of looked at it. So I've got a battery charger on it, and we'll see in the morning because it has gotten cold here in Nebraska. We had an overnight low of in the 30s, and so that's the quickest thing to drain a battery this week. So we're gonna see in the morning. I'm leaving the trickle charger on it all night long, and we'll see if I can revive that. So, but again, you know, this battery in this car was in the, and I could probably take this one's about the size from maybe. I could probably take this one and put it in there rather than going and buying another one. I'll have to check, but this is I put a Series H in this car. But again, all my vehicles, my collector vehicles, I've got them on on maintainers all winter long. Um, didn't think I'd have to do it on that one, but so more to come on that one. I still owe a drive video on that. You know, a lot of you have gave comments and feedback on my my problems that I've had with that, and quite frankly, it's frustrating. But so Mercedes. There's several models that have been probably that I've found on out on the web that we may want to steer clear of if you're ever looking at Mercedes, and these are more in the modern ones. But some of them that really stand out, and I'm just going to go over a few. The 2020 GLE. Oh wait a minute, that's an SUV. 2016 GLE. Okay, let me rephrase. A 2020 GLE 250 and a 2016 GL 350. Now, the 3.5 liter engine in 2016, I didn't think was a bad engine, but there must be something else with the car that is a problem. But again, that's it's an SUV. The 2019 GLC, 2014 CLA 250, 2016 the Sprinter van. So that's surprising because, well, the Sprinter has the same BlueTech diesel in it that the GL 350 has that I have sitting outside. But I don't think it's the diesel engine is the major culprit. I'm guessing it's going to be something else on that. And here's another one that really surprised me because I've always thought these cars were good cars in this era, and that's was a 2006 E350. Now, I liked back in that time period. It was the body it was the body change, but that 3.5 liter engine, I had that in my 2006 R350. And great engine, had a C350 from 2006 or 7. Again, the engine, no problems at all. So I don't know what the deal is with the E350. I don't think it's an engine-related issue. It could be other electronic issues. It's various different things. But those are things that I have found on forums and things of Mercedes-Benz's to stay, to steer clear of. Now, some of those folks, they're going through dealer auctions right now, especially vehicles, 2016, 2015s, 2020s. They're going through dealer auctions, repossessions. Repossessions are at an all-time high right now on the vehicles, especially in the luxury vehicle. And this, I've been watching people like the Auto Auction Rebuilds and Monkey Wrench Mike. They go to IAA and Copart, and they're saying here's a line of repossessions. I talked to a dealer friend of mine, um, a couple weeks ago, and he said, yeah, but the banks are not letting go of them. They still want their 80 or 90 cents a dollar, cents on the dollar, trying to recoup their money. So right now, our economic situation is causing people to have their vehicles repossessed. They're going to older vehicles. Well, now those of you, if you're going to go back to an older vehicle, what years and models are you going to be able to get something reasonably priced? Well, now you're in the early 2000s, 2002, 2005, 2007, in that era where that may be where people have, available cash. So now you got to think about, well, what's going to be reliable there, and how many miles is it going to have on it? How much maintenance has been done? So one of the things going back, in the mid 2000s, like 2007, the S550, not a very reliable car from that time period. Air suspension issues. I know this because I had a friend that had one. Um, and engine-wise, they're great engines, but there's a lot of maintenance involved. And so if that maintenance wasn't done, you could be running down the rabbit hole with a used car limit and going to be spending a lot of money. So, folks, just as, and I'm not a political analyst, I'm not a forecaster or anything. That's why if you have any vehicle, and if you follow on my channel and the maintenance and things like that, complete the maintenance, do the maintenance that's required on the car. And some people, it might be worth learning how to work on some of your own, your own vehicles. I mean, doing simple things like changing a wiper blades or adding your washer fluid, checking your oil to make sure you have the right amount of oil in the car before you take off on a long trip. A lot of people are relying on that digital display on the dash. Don't rely on that. Basically, if your car has a dipstick, use it, check it. That's my rant for today. Put your comments down below. This was just kind of a ad hoc video that wanted to get a few things off my mind, and quite frankly, seeing some of the repossessions that are going through, I wonder what's going to come about, in the used car market when the banks let go of them, less than, 90 cents on the dollar or 80 cents on the dollar. Banks aren't in business to lose money either, but, right now they've got a lot of inventory sitting out there on the repossession side of things at these car auctions, and, the Manheim and the IAAs and all the car auctions across the country. So be careful of what you buy. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.